I've been here 28 years. I'm on my 29th year now.
How long have we had this facility here?
This facility was put in 1958. Was the primary facility, which all they had was the primary clarifier, which just removed the biggest share of the solids, and then it went back into the river up to the dam. First, well, they used to put it in at the dam, straight into the river, and then when they put the primary treatment in, then it took most of the solids out, and then that was run through a coil filter, and then they hauled that to the dump and buried it.
Okay.
So it was a process that they used. It was called a coil filter.
And that was started back in...
And that was back in the late 50s.
Okay.
And then they used that for quite a while, and then in the 70s they upgraded to the secondary part of the treatment, which is the activated sludge. And then about 10 years ago they went in and did a $1.5 million expansion, put in the digesters for the sludge, which we used to haul out daily. Now we haul out maybe once or twice a year. And this is called the wet well. All the flow into the plant comes straight in through a meter that measures the flow per minute.
Okay.
That's partial flume. Everything goes through a cutter. Now this cutter's got 0.005 of an inch clearance. So everything comes through. Plastic, rubber, any products come in, go through and get shredded on that. And then that way it keeps it broke down into smaller particles. Okay, from here, we're pumping the load up to the primary clarifier. And this will be the first treatment process that's taken place in the facility. Wastewater is being pumped up here, which is basically like a lift station. Goes in, and the first unit here is what's called a grit chamber. Removes eggshells, bubble gum, sand, anything that's excessively heavy that does not digest comes out in here. That's hauled off and disposed of. Then in the free air tanks, which go around the outside edge, we're injecting air back in there to keep everything from going septic. And basically, with wastewater, anything, if you take it and take the air away from it, it'll just start like it's rotten, and it'll just start breaking down, and it'll get real offensive. The wastewater comes in here, rises up, has the activated sludge added to it. Then it splits off and goes into each tank. Now you can see by the tanks, what we have is we're injecting air again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you got the food, you've got the water, now we're putting the air in. From the time it goes into the tank till it goes out the south side of the tank, we're talking anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. This is called detention time. Okay, as it flows through, this is where the purification is taking place, because the bacteria is ingesting all the particles in the food. So it just constantly is in suspension until it goes out. Chlorination to purify the water before it went back to the river. Now we're using ultraviolet light. What it does is it alters the bacteria and then it dies. And what we're doing is this clarifier is 10 feet deep. It basically works just like the primary clarifier. The bacteria settles down, we waste it out, we send part of it back for reuse, and the purified water is going back to the river. You can see it right here.
Very clean.
It's clear. Outside of the farm. That will be this here. This is called return flow. And this is return bacteria going up to the aeration tank. So this is what we're recirculating.
Okay.
This over here is on the inside. This is going to go to the digester. This is already done and it's out of the system. There's no way to get it out of here unless you pump it out. I mean, there's no valves. You can't go backwards with it once it goes in here.
Okay.
So we've got a valve over here that I drop down and it slowly pulls it off the tank. So I pull so many gallons a day off and it's into here. We're injecting air again.
So it's thick and sludgy because it's full of bacteria?
It's just getting thicker.
Okay.
And it thickens down on the bottom of the tank so we can get it out of here thicker than if we took it out over here. Now this is where all the sludge, primary and secondary, is sent to these digesters, and they hold 350,000 gallons apiece. You have some dry sludge on top. You can see the bubbles with the air, and the foaming is basically caused by some grease that we've got in.
So this is everything that would not, I mean, everything that's left over, right?
Yeah, this is all that will go on the field as natural fertilizer.
And how much does this tank hold again?
350,000 a piece.
So how deep would this be if you jumped in?
This is, from the top edge, is 18 feet deep.
8 feet deep?
18 feet.
So when do you anticipate this needs to be emptied again?
This will probably, I'm going to guess, maybe like a month and a half. I can show you what this, I turn it off.
Okay.
It's on a float.
Oh, I see. So just kind of
what
some
it's
spinning
doing,
blades?
It's got one big blade about this big that's stirring that whole tank, and it only sets down about 4 feet in the water.
Well, I have to say, if, for a sewer plant, the smell isn't that bad.
No. No, and unless you have problems, and we have, you know, I have had people say, well, gee, you had a problem the other day. No, it wasn't our smell. I mean, it's, you know, you have to have an odor of some sort. There's no way to just totally get around it. Okay, this is our generator. It's Caterpillar diesel. And it's 200 kilovolt or kilowatt. It's up to operating temperature all the time. It's got a block heater in it. And when we lose power, 3 seconds time, everything's back operating. And what it is, this is actually the treatment plant. This is the primary clarifier. This is the final clarifier. This is the aeration basins. And when we go into these, the pumping station, we had 3 pumps. Here's the 3 pumps right here. And basically, we got pump 2 running. We're putting in 332 gallons per minute. This is the water going back to the river. This is the purified water. This is the sludge flock, or the bacteria.
And the bacteria is safe?
And this is what goes back in for reuse and goes to the digester.
Reuse?
Yeah. This is all what goes back to the river.
Okay.
So this is the purified water.
Very clean.
Chuck Bauer, wastewater treatment plant superintendent. And anything else, been here for 28 years, I'm working on 29.
All right, that's it. Thanks a lot.
Hope you enjoyed the tour.